here we go. Let's see. Watch. 3, 2, 1, go. Or not.
Wait. Are you telling me to go?
No, I don't know. I'm just making observations. On this kind of balmy Wednesday evening.
I suppose. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I don't need the sweatshirt, man. It's a little toasty in here.
Is it?
Not too bad. It's fun.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's just getting that time of year. Almost shorts weather time, man.
I'm wearing shorts right now.
You are wearing shorts right now.
Because I wore a jacket.
Huh?
Because I wore a jacket.
Oh, that's true. But it's almost shorts and flip-flops weather. I took out my flip-flops for their mandatory test spin.
And, did they need a repair?
No, I think we're good for another year. Yeah.
Did you check the tread level?
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all the support mechanisms are holding together. Once you pop that little thing between your toes, you need a new pair of flip-flops.
Oh yeah, well of course, but what's the proration on the tread?
I don't know. So I don't even think it gets past the lip of a penny. They're pretty smooth. I got street flip-flops.
You got
now.
slicks. I got slicks. Okay. Do we need to introduce the show?
Oh yeah. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
This is Coffee Before Bed. The podcast that gets more tired as the year goes on.
I'd love to try to keep the energy level up. I'll do my best.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. Just I've been getting beat up by I don't say life because that's pussy talk, but it's more so just the circumstances of work plus maintenance on my house plus.
Yeah. You work too much, man.
I don't. I just I don't really handle it like a man.
No, you don't say no.
No, I mean there are people that I say no to on a regular basis, but
What, do they come back and bother you, or?
No, I have to be better about shouldering the things that I have to do without being such a big fat pussy about it.
I don't know. See, I just choose to unburden myself from some of those things. What is that? Who are those guys long time ago who had that thing about opportunity cost? The quit early rule?
But you're talking about the Freakonomics.
Freakonomics guys, that's right. Yeah, that was Dubner.
Necessarily quit early, it was fail quickly.
Fail quickly, that's right. If you recognize, well, and I mean I guess the conclusion behind there is if you recognize that you're going to fail, then you quit early.
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've gotten better about that. So like golf, I quit golf before I invested 5 more years of my life in it.
Well, I mean that was the conclusion that you made, was that you weren't going to be satisfied with incremental improvements.
No, I was not.
Whereas there could be plenty of people that if they managed to cut one stroke over the course of a year, they'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
Because, that's measured improvement.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I asked myself, where do I want to be in terms of my golf game? And how soon did I want to be there? And the math just didn't work out. So, I mean, I didn't need to cut strokes off I just needed to hit the ball straight.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that proved impossible after 3 years of trying, so.
No, that's fine. And I understand that those early victories, it's the same thing with weightlifting or anything else, right?
Sure.
Is if you took me to the golf course right now and you said, here's your clubs, here's balls, all right, and I said, what's the par for this hole, right? Mm-hmm. And it's 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still going to write 1 million on the little slip because that's how long it's going to take me to get there, right?
Yeah.
If I get that to triple digits, that's a remarkable improvement, but a lot of you are going to be like, you suck at this, right?
Oh, I wouldn't say that to you.
No, you would.
No,
no.
I'm not a jerk.
well, it's not a jerk. You're right, because it's
Well, it's
like,
still rude for me to say something like that.
well, you wouldn't have to say it that way. I'm not quoting you hypothetically word for word, but this is something that you would at the very least think, okay, in your own definition. So I'd be showing remarkable improvement, but I still wouldn't be competitive by any means.
Sure.
Right? So to get to that point where I get down from triple digits to then double digits, then single digits, right? Huge improvements, but that difference between 3 and 4 is what really matters when it comes to par.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, if you're going to play it that way. I mean, we just played Snowman's anyway. You just write an 8 on the card and call it good.
Oh, yeah. No. That's absolutely fine. No, but what I'm talking about there is the difference from 8 to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, is 4 strokes, but the difference from 4 to 3 is significantly more difficult.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can find the joy in 4 to 3, right?
Yeah.
By all means, you should still be playing.
No, I didn't find much joy in it after a while. The joy was in getting trashed and calling my wife to come get me after I was done.
Okay, well, you don't.
I could do that without
I
golf.
was gonna say you don't need golf to do that.
So, I don't know, man. So it was frustrating playing it for almost 3 years and just not getting any better. So, and you say, oh, well, you have to work at it a little bit more. Fuck that. It's supposed to be a hobby. So,
Yeah,
by its very nature, just they should get better by osmosis in some respects. So,
that's a good question. Did you? No. Do you?
I mean, if my hobby was weightlifting, all right, it didn't matter how hard I pushed myself. If the answer was more than 0, I'm gonna come out better. So,
Yeah, of course. No, that's the same example I'm talking about. But I mean, when you were working on your model trains and stuff,
yeah,
right? When you were actually trying to get better, right?
yeah,
Did that take effort, or was it just getting your reps in?
it was getting the reps in.
Okay, well that counts.
And it was honestly taking a look at it and saying, you could do better on this. And so, it wasn't like, no, be really careful about this and stuff. But it was like, no, let's try this again. Let's paint that over again.
Yeah.
And you get better at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I mean, that's the same thing. It's just you take what you did, you learn from it.
Sure.
Right. You don't say that this is, I'm an expert and I can't get any better. So that's the same thing. That's exactly what golf is too.
Yeah, I suppose. I just didn't enjoy it after a while.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I guess that's part of my equation as well. If that flips to a 0 from a 1, then I'm done. So if it's something, especially if it's a hobby, all right, if it gets to the point in time where it's like, this isn't fun, then I don't do it anymore. So.
Unless the tedium is the fun. Yes.
Oh my God, the tedium is the fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Give me an example of that. I don't know what that looks like.
All right. I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
All right. So tell me, if you're going to collect sports cards,
Yeah.
okay, there is, I imagine that a large percent of that is anticipation, right?
Okay.
And then you open things or you buy things just outright. You go on eBay and you buy the cards that you want.
Yeah.
Right. The tedium is sorting these by
Okay.
whether you're doing it by number, by set, by alphabetical design, whatever that may be. The tedium of sorting is actually the fun part.
All right, I got you on that. So I'll buy that. See, so model trains is a good example. There's tedium in that one that I find insufferable, but you have to just kind of get through it, or you can do the exact same thing with cards. You just go buy the ones you want. And that was always making like trees, because you never have enough of them. And so you just sit in front of the TV with a bunch of glue and fucking, a piano wire.
Yeah.
And just make it, as many of them as you could for a little while. But, you could only do that for so long before like, fuck this, I'm going to go find something else to work on. So, you go make trees later.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. And so there can be parts of this where, or, there are other, other hobbies where, say, making things presentable is the like, you know, I wouldn't do this, but if you're into like bug collecting, collecting the bugs is one part, you know, stamps, but you have to put these in ways that are mountable. You have to put these in ways that are presentable.
Taxidermy.
Not my thing.
Not my thing. Yeah.
But yeah, the tedium is the fun. And if you don't enjoy that, if like, so there's a version of this where you could say, like, you're into collecting cards. You're like, what do you mean? Right? And so what do? It's like, I like opening the pack and I like checking to see what I got. And I'm hoping for something rare. Yeah. Right? The thing is, I would take that part of you and say, you don't really like card collecting. You like gambling.
Yeah.
So let's get you on a proper course that really that really hits this part of this.
I don't think you really need to fix somebody like that. You know.
No, because
like therapy. I recommend you hit the slots now. So.
No. You're right, because in theory, like, card collecting should be like your methadone, or it should be your vape to your normal cigarettes. It should be what steps you down. Still hits that that lizard part of your brain that likes gambling. But if what you're doing is like, you know, card collecting isn't doing it for me, I don't know what else is there. Said, like, have you tried gambling?
We're going to up you to camels here, son. These are called wides.
Yeah, I mean,
they're as big as they get.
There's that part. There's like, have you ever seen American Spirits?
Oh my God. Whoa.
Or, God help you, I think they still make Lucky Strikes.
They do still make Lucky Strikes. So, it's been a long time since I've seen them in a cigarette machine, but...
All right, fair enough. I haven't been to the bingo parlor in a while, so yeah, you're absolutely right.
Or the bowling alley. If there's one place where I bet you could still find a cigarette machine, it'd be a bowling alley.
No way. Not a bowling alley.
I bet you, yeah.
No, man, I would say that any place that requires you to be 18 plus.
Oh, that's right. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about the CD part, you know.
You know, okay, so there's this like transitory period, right? So when you go to the generation before mine, okay, when they used to go to like the video arcade, okay, this was a place where they expected to be smoking and drinking.
Yeah, inside.
Right?
Yeah, it's almost like pachinko parlors. Yeah.
Yeah. And even though these were games for children, they'd sort of built the places around young adults. And I think bowling alleys for a long time were also that.
Yeah, that or for like the guys who would go to the VFW but stop drinking. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that. There were also, like, you used to be able to find those in like billiard places.
Oh, that's right.
You know,
pool halls.
You know, that sort of thing.
Are there any pool halls left in town?
Yeah. The place next to Crap for Less turned back into a pool hall.
Oh, the crap book pool. I think that deserves some explanation.
No, I'm just going to write it down.
All right, just going to write it down. Crap book blowout. So that's a pool hall again.
Yeah, and I think...
I know Phantom's still got pool tables.
Sure, and I think Antique Billiards is still, on South Academy. I think that's still a place.
That used to be Pinky's, right?
No, different place.
Oh, okay.
This place was, if you head down south on Academy and then take a right on Galley.
A right?
Yeah. So it's the you're going to the Citadel Mall.
Yeah.
So you head to south on Academy. You take.
I thought that was Pinky's.
No, you pass Pinky's.
Oh, so they're close.
Yeah.
Okay.
You take a right, and then you take that left into where I think the old Social Security office used to be.
Yeah, I think. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And Antique Billiards is there, and that is. I think that place is still open because that was. Shit, that's where I actually saw the professionals play.
Yeah.
Put on exhibitions. That was cool.
Yeah, I've never seen that. So except for on the TVs, but Yeah, no, like I just remember like some of the pool halls around us around here were kind of shitty. So they had that one out there by the Kmart that was like humongous but empty all the time, and the few guys who were in there looked like they would stab you. So
Yeah, and then you had that same thing, but in a much smaller place called the Corner Pocket. Where
yep.
I think the amount of stabby guys was the same, but the area was much smaller.
Much smaller area. Yeah. There's more stabby guys per square foot. Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, and the other place, the place over by the Crap Book Blowout, you're right.
Yeah.
That one went. It was pool hall, then not pool hall, then laser tag, then not laser tag,
Yeah.
then like appliance warehouse, and now you say it's back to pool hall.
Yeah, it's a place called Rackham.
Rackham. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, what was it? If it was this, it was Sticks Billiards for the
Sticks.
longest time.
Yeah.
Sticks. It was Sticks for the
I
longest
knew
time.
the guy who used to manage that place, so I worked with him for a little while.
Did you?
Yeah, he said it was very stabby. After a certain amount of,
I would say, yeah. I think I went through phases of stabby and not stabby. Like there were times when it was
It's correlated with the S&P 500.
possibility. I don't know.
Right, yeah, or the housing market in particular.
I didn't. I was sort of into demographic research at the time, but I can't tell you. I can tell you when I knew guys who would go down there to get into fights.
Yeah, I remember some of those guys.
Yeah.
But it's like there were a couple other places that were even kind of close. Corner Pocket was the worst one, but then there was that other place up by the card shop that we used to go to every now and then.
Oh yeah.
I knew a dude actually got killed there later. So
Oh, back when it was JDDs, or when it turned to the Dead Ants, or
something like that. It might have been either before or after that. And then that place that we went over there with the Water Wizard, there was a guy who got shot there a couple weeks after we visited.
oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do remember that. Yeah. So that place looked like it had the potential to be a little stabby, especially the bathroom, man. The bathroom looked like it belonged in a prison. So,
Yes.
yes.
It did.
Yeah.
I will say that, because that was the place where it seemed like they had 5 different investors and 5 different strategies, and
And way too much space for all of them. It was like creepy amount of space in there.
and I presume that they probably got a great deal on it.
Considering the location, yeah, probably.
Probably.
Either that or one of those original 5 guys had to back out. His idea was to actually have an indoor go-kart arena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's there were so many themes in there that were overlapping, and because didn't they have wasn't there somebody in there that was also like, weren't they like hawking shit inside the store?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had people selling like fucking, like sea salt crystals and shit.
Yeah.
Weird, man.
And it was just
That's the kind of thing when you know business is bad in a place because they have a regular who's like, hey, I make these really cool little things, they help balance your chi or something. And you're like, yeah, sure, set up a booth as long as you buy beer.
Yeah, or it just so happens that that person there is the friend of your wife.
Oh, that guy.
Or something like that, and I don't know. Maybe that place took off, but I just at the time it's just like this.
Oh, we all said that. We said the place was kind of creepy. So, I almost missed the stabby nature of pinkies at that point in time. So,
yeah. I mean, you know what you're getting. You know,
sure.
When you're going there, you know exactly. Like, I don't know. This is a tough thing. Is sometimes places go out of their way to family up the joint, but that's not what you wanted.
No, and most of the places we went to were definitely going in the opposite direction. There have been some exceptions. So here, there's a couple bowling alleys that started doing that.
Oh yeah. If you go to to Harmony, right?
Oh man, I haven't been there in ages.
Harmony is spotless.
Is it now?
Yeah, well,
it used to be kind of greasy.
It was. I mean, when I went there, like last, like I don't know, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the place that was shiny. That was it was expensive.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Of course it was. But
Yeah.
that was the name of their game was. I guess this is a sports strategy, right? So pretty much my understanding is that every major sports team has taken the same strategy to prevent hooliganism.
Oh yeah.
And that is just to price people.
Except for the Yankees.
Well, no, okay. Well, the Yankees used to have a designated spot for the hooliganism to
Right, it's the South Stands, you know,
Right.
just like it is in Mile High, man.
Yeah, they used to, basically cordon off that zone. It's like,
Yeah.
these are the cheap seats.
Well, and they were throwing garbage at people from that seat. The other
Yeah,
day.
so if
Not
you
happy about my fandom at the moment, man. It's
I'm wearing a Red Sox shirt, but they've been embarrassing me for the past 3 games.
yeah, that's true too.
They
Yeah.
just played 3 against Toronto, all of which they could have won, and then lost in the
Yeah.
9th or 10th inning. So, I'm not exactly. Oh my god, damn it! Hey, I'm gonna sidetrack here for a second because I just want to bitch about Google Docs here for a moment. Do you mind if I do that?
Oh, have at it, man.
Are you familiar with
Yes.
Google Docs? Okay.
They're fucking terrible. So,
Well, okay, so there's something about them that's really cool, and then something about them that's not cool, right? I love the collaborative aspect, right? I love that you set this up and you can make live changes, and especially if you're teaching somebody, you can jump in there and say, like, whoa, what are you doing here? Highlight this or change this, right? What really sucks is when you spend the day doing professional editing,
yeah,
and then you have somebody that gets in there and looks at your edits
yeah,
and starts resolving the issues,
yeah.
you get an email about all of them.
Oh no shit! You can't turn that off.
Well, if you turn that off, then you don't. I mean, it's kind of like an all or nothing thing, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I just keep getting messages over and over about
Email after email after email.
It's like accepted change.
Oh,
Yeah, accepted
yeah.
edit. So
I've never done live editing like that, man. So, I mean, even the stuff that I do, I always do it in Word. And you do all your edits, you kick it to somebody, you say change whatever you want, send it back. You know, I don't know, but Google Docs just pain in the ass.
Yeah, there's some stuff that it does really well. Much preferred over. I'm finding one of the problems I have is a lot of students of mine. They actually just don't have Word on their computers now.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Even with my students, and they get it free. They get it free through the university.
Yeah.
They just don't bother to download it. They just use Google Docs or, like, or not. What's the Apple one? It's Pages. So
I don't even acknowledge Pages.
I don't either. I tell them, they say
Pages,
upload
yes.
things to, the LMS system that we have, Blackboard, in Pages, and I can't fucking read it. And so I just goose egg them on it and say, upload this in a readable format. It's literally a left click and a save as PDF, fixes this problem. So, please resubmit. Because I can't read that shit. I mean, there was like maybe a year where I was like, oh, okay, I'll go find a file converter until that motherfucker corrupted my computer.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're literally asking it to open a file on your computer for you, and then you download a file from that site to open. It's just asking for trouble every single time. So I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You guys can save in Pages to a PDF. Do that. So, and let alone all the people that I have that use open office software, and it's like, I'm not letting that anywhere near my machine. Okay, so this thing, it's not just a landmine; it's a bucket of landmines that have yet to be spread out upon like the infrastructure of my computer.
Yeah, very infrequently, Patrick, do I advocate for full monopolization of a market, but if I had my way, Word would eat the rest of the
Yeah.
okay, because I don't look, Pages is an insult. Okay,
I don't even know if there's anything wrong with it or anything. I've never used it. So
because the company that it comes from is so intent on being so asininely proprietary.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is where all this comes from. Because look, if you could save all this bullshit in a simple way, right? Great.
Yeah.
To the accepted format, doc or docx or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Not a problem. But dude, I've had contractors send me shit in Pages. I'm like,
no. Yeah, no. I can't read this.
And that's just don't do that. And that's why I want them to be destroyed.
So the contractors still say
Contractors, students, anybody. It's just don't come in here with proprietary shit. It's useless.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one on Pages. So, but I don't know. I'm pretty vociferous about that the first couple weeks of the semester. All it takes is one or two people to screw that one up and get a goose egg on an assignment, and they quickly learn. They usually panic about that too. Like, what did I get a 0 on this? I was like, read a policy. It was like, resubmit it. I'm not going to really give you a 0 on it unless you refuse to resubmit it. And then I'm going to cement this thing down. So, yeah. So, any other rants for the day? What else you got?
Rants?
I guess that was kind of a mild rant.
Well, okay. So, what do you? I guess here's my question. You want rants like big, little? Where are we talking about rants?
I guess I'd be looking sequentially. First one on the mind, no matter the magnitude.
Well, I mean, if you're asking me if I have a rant, it's more so, the pure revelry that I've been watching the Twitter situation unfurl. I don't know if that's a rant so much as just I've been just like bathing in human misery, and I don't think my skin has ever looked better.
You are kind of glowing a little bit.
I'm sorry, man. There's this.
So, like, I'm not on the Twitter. You are with what is this incognito account number 3?
No, it's just number 2.
It's number 2.
Number
okay,
2.
So the prospect of them reinstating account number 1. How do you feel about that?
Oh well, it's not as though I threw that one out. I just don't use it.
Right, because you're shadow banned, right? Or are you flat out banned?
No, that one, it's thrown to the corner. I don't know if the eventual stuff is going to clear as a result of change of management. I have seen some very interesting developments when it comes to people that have been getting accounts reinstated.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Already?
Oh, yes. Look,
well, the guy doesn't own it yet. It's going to take months. So there's people within Twitter who are like front running these changes that they think they're going to make. That's what you're insinuating?
What I'm insinuating is I'm pretty sure that there have been some emails or phone calls that have said, do this.
Oh, okay.
Because there are lots of guys out there that are seeing hundreds, thousands, if not 10,000s of their followers.
Yeah.
Okay. Gaining them in days.
What does that mean? Gaining them in days?
Right. So
gaining followers within days?
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that this is basically the big question right now is I don't think it's a mixture. There are people creating new accounts now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong. Basically, like people are like, I would not set foot in that cesspool because of the way that this is run. But you know what? With the change in leadership, I'll sign up. Right?
Sure.
But that's not the biggest
Yeah, I
part.
wouldn't see that would be being the biggest part of it.
There's a shitload of people who have been unbanned that were followers of said things.
Oh,
now that the bans have
Yeah.
lifted, they appear back on people's shit.
Yeah.
And there have been an exodus of people who, a team of collective screeching bedwetters who have been closing their accounts or shutting them down because it's different than it was. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, you guys say, you know,
Is Movie Bob one of them?
that's his entire life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's that pussy's entire life. If he didn't have that,
Yeah.
right, he'd have no identity.
I don't know.
whatsoever.
I haven't seen him on YouTube in so long. So
No, he's a terrible human being.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's
Hey, there's a mini rant. I think you squeaked that one right
he
out.
fucking blocked me, so fuck him.
He blocked me.
Blocked me a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I told him that he looked like a fucking nutsack, and he blocked me. So, actually, that's not true. I told him that he looked like if a tumor could have a nutsack, he would be that nutsack. And he blocked me. So my no, fuck him. No, that dude talks shit to everybody.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna dole it out to everybody, you don't get to block. You don't get to just turn it off and say like, no, I insult for free, but I will not be disgraced by other people's, stuff. But kingly piece of shit. Like based on what?
Was it account Prime or account Alpha? So-
Oh, that was account. That was account. Trobulon Prime. So yeah, fuck him. And people like him. No, there's been a lot of people that have said, "Oh, if this changes, like you guys say that you want free speech, but what you mean is you really just want to say the N-word." I'm like, no, man.
No, man, that's
No.
not what that means.
It's like, that's not what it means. And then other people are like, what you mean is you want free speech for white people. I'm like, no,
that's not
I'm
what
smarter
that
than
means
you.
either, yeah.
If I wanted to say that, I would say that. Right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm not white.
So what? Yeah. Okay. So I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know the answer about this because I'm not really on the platform.
All right.
So, but like fundamentally, all right. So you kick that off. You kick off the ban bot,
Okay.
so to speak. What happens? It doesn't turn into 4chan, does it?
People are arguing that it will.
What's your take on that? Is there a possibility that would happen, or
Not a chance.
Okay, why not?
No. Because it's a different crowd.
Yeah, but wouldn't I guess the argument that a lot of the people who'd be making that one is like, well, if it's a different crowd, but then you have this element in it that wants it to be 4chan that's now like allowed to do that. Don't they eventually drive out the crowd that's there right now? Isn't that what every social media platform that's actually tried this has happened to it?
Well, there's an old attitude when it comes to the nature of your friends or the crowd that you're allowed to hang.
Okay.
Right? And it's been this for a long time. Right? Dude, you're welcome to come over. Okay? You can come to the party, but if you chase off the girls, you have to go.
But if you chase off all the libs,
It's not a question of the list because ultimately, like, look,
well, that's who they're chasing. So
yeah, but this is the problem. Okay, if what you're acting like is there was no version of this where the standard bitchhole Twitterites came on there and their perspective of the day was, this is a great day.
yeah,
This is a great day to be in a platform that I feel is safe and comfortable. Okay?
yeah. I don't think anybody's tried to do that.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Well, no. Even if it were, okay, the attitude was never, this is a great place to hang out and be social, right? The thing was, these fucking people came in and they felt, persecuted no matter what the situation was.
Okay.
These are the people who seem to think like America is a place where, I ordered this on dark Amazon, right? This right here, see this? Okay. This is a transgender call, right? And I'm going to hide in the bushes and I'm going to blow on it and it makes them come out of their houses. And when they come out, I'm going to shoot them. Right? So these are the same fucking idiots that think that people in this country are actively not just care, but
Yeah.
want to actually terminate.
Yeah.
Okay. Transgender people like they came from the future to do so. Okay.
No, I know.
So-
but I mean, come on, man. That's got to be a minority. So that's got to be a distinct minority of people who actually believe that shit.
It's a shrieking minority.
Right. So they're going to go shriek off into their own private Facebook book groups from now on?
Absolutely not.
Well,
because
the case that you're making here is that they're not going to survive on Twitter.
Oh no, they'll survive. Here's the thing: is what they wanted to do on Twitter, regardless of whether it was safe or not, was they wanted to fucking complain about how difficult life is for them and how persecuted they are.
I understand that.
Right? This won't cause them to leave. In fact, it will cause them to redouble their efforts.
Okay, see, that's contrary to what most of the people that I've heard talk about this say.
They're out of their mind. They're out of their mind. You were talking about...
Isn't there a possibility that they actually will just exodus out of Twitter?
Hell no. Where are they going to go?
You don't even think there's a possibility of that?
No, not a chance.
All right.
Not a chance. Because the people that have... The people that have, quote unquote, deactivated and deleted their accounts, okay? Dude, it's not... There's like 3 celebrities that did that, okay? And they were...
Who were they?
Let's see. I know Jamila Jamil did.
I don't know who she is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. She's a minor celebrity. She was on a game show that I watched once. And she's... No, his...
Involved squares?
No,
Was Bruce Valanche there?
Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah.
Oh, he died, man.
I know. But
He looked rough, too, man. I hadn't seen him in a little while. So, anyway.
But yeah, ultimately, this is person who just, you know, it's like activist this and
yeah,
fucking,
yeah, you know, all the flags and things.
yeah, all the flags and
So who else?
identify like one ex-wrestler and somebody else I didn't even know. So I mean, this is
Somebody was
not
John Cena.
no,
Darn it.
of course not. So no, I mean that's the thing is it's not a mass exodus and it won't be because the people who are there weren't there because they felt like this was the safest spot. They always felt like it was a battleground.
So they've always been playing the PvP server, even if they're sailing around the Sea of Thieves,
That's all
waving
they
the
ever
white
wanted to
flag.
do.
All right,
That's
fine.
why they're there,
All right.
right? If you wanted, okay,
All right,
so-
I buy your argument. I got it.
No, look. So I mean, if you're the difference is they're not. This was just how it naturally went after the Tumblr exodus. Okay, and those people split and they went to most of them went to Twitter and
I
then
forgot about Tumblr.
well, everybody forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place fell apart for a reason. It came under Yahoo control, and they banned porn, and that was that, right?
Yeah.
So they ran to Twitter and they ran to Reddit. The people that are on Reddit right now, they're there. Okay,
Yeah, Reddit's kind of its own animal, though.
it is.
So, yeah, it's a little bit different than Twitter. I don't know, though, man. We'll have to see. So I think it was interesting that he was able to actually flip the board on that position. I was actually reading in the journal some of the kind of behind-the-scenes shit that was going on over the weekend, where basically a couple of the giant institutional investors, and I was right about that, fucking Vanguard was actually their biggest investor.
Yep.
And they looked at it and they said, well, we thought we'd get $60 eventually for this, but we'll take $54 now. So, you know, and I mean, theoretically, they still have fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders.
Yes, they do. And that's how that all played out.
It totally did, yeah. I saw that attorney who showed up on Rogan's show with Jack Dorsey like 5 or 6 years ago was basically crying over it. So, and I mean, okay, so there are some insufferable episodes of Rogan out there. That one is insufferable, but not because of Rogan. So,
Right.
you know, he wasn't even stoned for that one. You know, it was just like, oh my God, man. So this is not only an attorney who interrupts every other sentence, but she keeps saying the same thing. Oh my God, we get it, you know? The only episodes that are harder for me to watch are the ones with fucking Alex Jones, man, just because I literally get short of breath.
No, I understand. I understand that there's no version of this where you'd sit down to watch like fucking InfoWars and you'd be like, it's been a hard day of work. I just need to relax. No.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if there's a finite supply of it, but I feel like the inside of his body is a factory that generates anxiety. And like
He's got to barf it out.
yes.
It kind of exhausts.
Yeah. Because it's not like he even has like a pleasant like cadence to his voice or like.
Oh no, his voice is terrible.
Yeah, there's not a
I'll actually give
smoothness.
Tucker Carlson that one over him, man.
Oh yeah. There's not like a spit and polish that would have come from say like your elder statesman, your Rush Limbaugh's, where
Rush could get that way if he wanted to. So
look, he could get out of breath, but most of the time his appeal was his presentation. He did not sound like an idiot.
No.
Right? He transitioned well. He had a pleasing voice, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Alex Jones makes you feel like everything's in danger.
Oh, it's all terrible all the time. And, you know, you're immediately doomed and already fucked before you knew it. You know, but I knew it before you did. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I've never made it through an entire session of InfoWars. So I can't
No, it's
do
intolerable. I don't. I had the choice of watching that in the 2016 election, but I found it far more rewarding to watch the Young Turks. And
Oh, the Young Turks?
oh yeah, and watching those people cry as the election dissolved around them.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Cenk Uygur. So, but who's the other chick?
Oh, Anna Kasparian.
Anna Kasparian. I didn't really know that much about her. I knew that she was on the show, and I saw her on there occasionally, but I could not follow Young Turks because Cenk Uygur is just a greaseball. And he has been for like a long time, man. Ever since he ran for Congress, and that was like what, 2014 or something?
Yeah,
2012,
something like that.
something like that.
He didn't win.
Oh no, because all that shit came out on it. You know, well, anyone can win anyway, but you know, he got his pee-pee slapped in the primary. And so then I would cross paths with him every now and then, but even like I didn't really know much about Anna Kasparian until she got in that fight with Jimmy Dore like 3 years ago. Yeah. So, and even that guy, I can't watch that guy sometimes too, man. So,
no, they're all
he's
dweebs.
funny. No,
Yeah.
Jimmy's actually funny though.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, he's actually funny.
I mean, you take that and you have a lot of those same things, but take away a lot of the sanctimoniousness and look, the clearest way I can describe Anna Kasparian is that there is no version of this where she would ever let you talk to her at a bar. She thinks.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
You can tell that there's a group of people that she views as less than human.
That would be us. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, those are the people I have.
I don't think
least
Cenk
amount of
Uygur is
time.
that much different.
No. So let me put it. So Cenk Uygur, I'm just going to say it this way: there are people who have stupid opinions, and they express them stupidly. There are people that have stupid opinions, and they express them well, almost convincingly,
Or comedically. You know,
or comedically. And there are, then there's the flip side of good ideas, poor presentation. Good ideas, good presentation.
Yeah.
Cenk Uygur is stupid. Okay? He expresses himself in an utterly retarded way and doesn't have good enough perception
Two-swing strike.
Exactly. Yeah. He doesn't have nuance or balance to his values to make that worth listening to, because there's a version of this, like, this is, again, I hate to go back to Twitter, but there's this thing of basically dehumanizing people who don't agree with you.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And
That's not just on Twitter.
of course not, right? Of course not. But there's a lot of that where it's like, the opening of what you're saying is like, well, the subhuman people who disagree with me. I'm like, okay, well, okay, you're convincing me. I will keep listening to you, right? No, and that's sort of the attitude that comes out of that shit.
No, it's just bloviating. So, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, you can definitely trace. Unfortunately, you can definitely trace that back to the elder statesman known as Rush Limbaugh. So
he's not alone in that, but
no, but he was the first guy who had a big enough platform to, you know, basically build around. Because I mean, he's the guy. I mean, the whole libtard thing and stuff that comes from him. You know,
I feel like
it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah,
Man, I watched that dude in the fucking 90s, man. I remember that shit going on.
No, I feel like somehow quietly Don Imus did that too.
Don Imus did, but the thing about Don Imus and him and Howard Stern was that they were so over the top that they never actually collected that kind of audience. All right, so the kind of audience that is uniformly directed in one direction,
right?
So because there were a lot of people who'd listen to fucking Howard Stern because they wanted to yell at the radio. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the case with Rush Limbaugh. I don't know any liberals who actually listened to the fucking show back in the day.
Look, the numbers actually said there were a significant percentage of people that listened to it because they wanted to get pissed off.
Oh, but not like Howard Stern, man.
Well, Howard Stern
I'd be curious to see the numbers on that.
He was a definition of a shock jock. That was his thing.
Well, Don Imus did it before he did.
That's what I'm saying.
Howard Stern, like Don Imus was like a 3 on the dial. So, you know, I mean, for the early to the late 80s, oh, he's Don Imus. You know, but by the time that Howard Stern got on the radio in the late 80s, it was like, oh, watch this. You know? So, right. Yeah. Right. You know, and so, but those two guys are kind of like one in their own, whereas Rush Limbaugh, you know, I mean, the one thing the guy did do was he built a very cohesive audience, and it was based upon the idea. I mean, I'm kind of going off memory here, just based upon like how I felt about it at the time and stuff like that, and you know, talking to people who felt the same way. So there was almost a unanimous disdain for Bill Clinton. All right.
Oh yeah.
Amongst that audience, and so he was able to absolutely tap into that. And so, like, Bill Clinton's like the first president that I can remember that actually had that active hate group running around. Seriously. And
what?
Well, yeah, and he would play to it like so effectively. You know, he would actually use them to isolate himself and like make himself look like, you know, kind of like the protector of these values in his base as well. It's just where like politics went from like, because before that, if you look at all the presidents we fucking had, they kind of had like this veneer of like, you know, there was something special about them. But Bill Clinton was the first guy that I remember being kind of like the everyman president. And so you yourself could kind of like, you know, if you believed in him, you could kind of like empathize with him, play saxophone, and, you know, so he comes from the South and he speaks with the drawl and blah, blah, blah.
No, yeah, but
you know, nobody thought that they were fucking Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was Ronald Reagan, you know? So, but Bill Clinton and the guy right after him, George W. Bush, these are the guys that you were supposed to have a beer with, you know? And there were never presidents like that before that.
Incorrect.
Who?
Jimmy Carter.
No, man.
Yes. No. Hold on. Now, I have to refute you on this because the entire counterculture punk movement starts because of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, no.
So to say that there wasn't, you know, open opposition to this, right?
Okay, fair enough. But like, but an audience of the size of Limbaugh's didn't exist until Bill Clinton. So. Okay. And it was totally, so you're talking about Puck. The only thing that I can delineate between that one is young people hated him. Okay.
Bill Clinton?
No, Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. So that's your consistent variable amongst all the individuals who were in that movement. Oh, yeah. Fucking Rush Limbaugh drew in everybody. So on his side of the fence.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So the question here is what we attribute these things to. Okay. Because don't forget that what important. Okay, so there's two things that really start to open up after the end of the 80s, right? media changes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cable media. So yeah.
Cable media, and then during the middle of the man's presidency, internet starts to become widespread. So
Bill Clinton.
yeah. So
I don't, yeah, but the internet was cute back then, you know. So it wasn't harmless. It was pretty harmless. Netscape was nice. You know, the Twitter wasn't a thing.
No. It's not like people were like there wasn't a secret cabal of fucking journalists who were like on ICQ and AOL Instant Messenger, right?
Prodigy.
Yeah, so it wasn't how that was going. They were still like hanging out, right?
Sure.
Or making phone calls.
Well, that's how you found out who you were talking to.
God help you, at that point, I would argue that there were probably more boards or email groups, right? So that if you have like, your New York Times journalist wank email group, there was probably something like that, but not to the point.
I almost guarantee you it was all internal. So
Something,
yeah.
but something where there was some kind of communication between the group, whatever that was, right? Not where this was aired out in public or anything like that. So there may have been a confluence of this just happened to be at the time that this media was changing, right?
That's possible.
Because I mean that's the thing that took Rush Limbaugh from radio to television.
Oh yeah, I remember the transition in 1992.
Yeah.
So it was the year that Bill Clinton was elected.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
He went back to radio because it was actually bigger. So
yeah, it's true.
a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that being said, that didn't stop his influence from spreading to get to a new audience, pull them to radio, right?
Oh no, that's true. Yeah.
Right. And so, I understand that. And if you're making the argument that I would argue when this would have to stem from the Nixon administration when it comes from like when does the veneer of presidency like wear off? I would say that has to be at least where the enamel is getting thin.
Yeah, probably with Watergate. I don't know, man. That's before my time.
I get it.
So, like, I can't speak to that one directly. I mean, I can speak to it through the eyes of my father and what he told me.
Sure.
And Nixon was always his guy. So, but Nixon was never the kind of, and my dad met him. So, but he was never the kind of guy who was like, oh, hey, Dick, how are you? Pull up a chair. Let's talk about bowling.
Right.
No, he's a fucking president.
president.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, the last president I remember that kind of had that element to him was honestly Herbert Walker, whereas like this guy, he's a fucking Yaley, he's been in the system for forever, he's a World War II vet, he's obviously different than all of you.
But I mean, yeah, so back I mean, the guy, when you go to Carter, his whole campaign was basically like, I'm a peanut farmer. I'm not a,
I would say that he was a false start on what Clinton started later. So, because I mean, he turned out like once he got in the White House, he turned out that he was very fucking different. And like, I mean, even both of my parents and everybody that I know who was alive to vote against Jimmy Carter did so. And so that's not exactly building the coalition of the great unwashed that Bill Clinton kind of pulled around himself.
Yeah.
And then that fits in perfectly with the next guy. So when you talk about George W., he was the president that you would go have a beer with. That's why Al Gore lost. Well, it's not why Al Gore lost the election. It's why he didn't win the election.
Right. Because the whole presentation was that he was a turd, basically devoid of any person.
Yeah, he was. They used to call him an automaton. So automaton. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I missed a T in there.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm gonna block you.
That was the idea behind this was that he had no personality whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. You remember when he kissed his wife on stage? It was like horrifying. So,
yeah, it was around the same time that Michael Jackson did that with Lisa Marie Presley, and people were like, "This is weird."
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It was. Yeah.
But whereas, you do have a point, because do you remember who the two front runners were in the DNC when Bill Clinton was squaring off?
You gotta give me a sec.
California.
From California?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Dianne Feinstein?
Not a bad guess. It was Jerry Brown.
Oh, that's right. You're right. It was Jerry Brown.
And Jerry Brown has gone on to still have success in the California, circuit.
Oh, yeah.
Governor and all that. But
Twice, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he's got separated terms, too.
If I recall.
He's got Arnold in between them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and the current idiot is Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
But the thing about Jerry Brown was, you're exactly right, was he was seen as a stodgy, he was the front runner for a long time. Bill Clinton was the absolute dark horse on this, but it went on personality versus Jerry Brown seemed to be just this stodgy old guy.
Yeah. He was George Herbert Walker Bush without all the qualifications. So
He even kind of looked the same.
Yeah. I mean, he's distinctly younger. So
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But there was still there's this version of like, I'm looking into a past alternate history mirror of myself.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. So we'll see. I think that I don't really see anything fundamentally changing going in either direction on that one, because like it's just like we don't get candidates like we used to. So a long time ago, where they're distinctly not the common man. There's something special about this individual. We just don't get that anymore. Now it's all like, oh, well, this is my guy. And I don't think it was like that before, man.
It absolutely wasn't. But what you have to talk about here is the way that society has basically evolved over time.
Sure.
Right? I mean, speaking of your father, there was a certain expectation that, you wore a tie to go on an airplane.
Well, yeah, that's because we weren't paying for it.
No, but here's the thing.
Those are the rules.
Casual flyers would do that.
Yeah, casual flyers would. So, shit, man, even when I started in the airlines, that was still kind of common. So, you kind of dress up when you go on a plane.
So, here's my question.
Or at least you wore a sweater. So, usually because they're fucking cold. So,
okay, gotcha there. But here's my question is, do you think that compared to, I'll draw a line of it. Let me say 75. So it's 1975. What is the percentage of restaurants that expect you to dress at least acceptably well compared
to tiny?
Okay.
It's tiny.
So what I'm saying here is that there is a lot of what has changed is the expectation of showing yourself as professional or presentable or right.
Yeah, and that ain't getting better with work from home, man.
No. And you know what? That's fine. But this is a question of whether
it gets to a point, man. So,
no, man, look,
the idea of actual separation between individuals in one way or another, in terms of how they present themselves, is probably not a bad thing.
No. But what I'm saying here is that there was no version of this where people would be, you wouldn't go to the grocery store in your goddamn pajamas. Okay.
No.
And you can see that right now.
I don't think he would have done that before COVID. So.
Oh, they were.
It's not terribly common. I mean, you found a few instances in like Walmart and stuff.
No, I'm not talking. This is a thing. There are a lot of people that it's just they'd wear like pajamas. Like especially like pajama bottoms, okay? Pajama bottoms with a hoodie on top,
right?
Okay, I'm clearly not going to dress up to go out, right? Whereas even in just the 80s, okay, even my parents were like, "Well, we're going out."
Yeah, put on your shoes. Right. Yeah, get your jeans.
It's like you're not wearing flip flops.
You're not wearing flip flops.
Yeah, okay. And we've if you don't value that as a person, right? How could you be expected to value that in your leadership? It's a reflection of you.
I suppose, but I'm not optimistic about where that goes. So let me put it that way. So like there's just like and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's one of the few things that I'm actually pessimistic about.
Tell me why.
Because it means that we cannot expect anything from our leadership in the future. So it makes it much, much more difficult to actually. I was talking to a student about this the other day, and he was getting all about the upcoming midterm elections and shit like that, blah blah blah, and how it's actually going to affect the House and Senate, and then immediately, without even thinking about that, he's going on to 2024. And I'm sitting here while he's just going off on about this entire thing, and he's trying to establish all his independent credentials and blah, blah, blah. But obviously, if you're talking about it, you're not independent. Okay. So in one respect or another. So you've got a preferred outcome already picked out.
Okay.
You know, kind of thing. And then I just found myself during the course of this conversation sitting there and reflecting about the last time I was actually truly enthusiastic about a change in leadership, and how every single time that's happened, I've been thoroughly disappointed. So, because fundamentally, who the president is just doesn't fucking matter. So, and it's not about deep state and stuff like that. The thing that fucking matters is that if half this country cannot agree with the other half of the country, how the fuck can you expect anything out of our leadership to move in one direction or another? So you're literally carrying half the country dead weight that's actively rooting for you to fail. So that is not something I remember from George Bush's 1991 presidency. So,
okay. It's funny that you had an experience with this. I recently had an experience with this as well.
Okay, please tell me it ran in the opposite direction.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. All right. So this is a Ukrainian. Okay. And one of the things that we were discussing, and it was funny because her reaction to this, she's saying well, eventually I'm going to have to take the naturalization test and all this stuff.
To come to America?
For citizenship. She's already here.
For what?
For full citizenship.
To become a citizen.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But she's already here.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So I was like, well, then I'm going to help you study for that.
Yeah, sure.
She's like, oh, please, you can talk to my husband. She's like, he loves to opine about this stuff. And I was like, no, I have to talk to you because you don't know. Right? Now, that was the thing. It was kind of funny, but I was like, all right. Now,
is her husband American?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try and give you a breakdown of American government. Mm-hmm. The easy version.
Yeah.
Okay? The one that we discussed instead of you reading out of a book and getting boring. Right? And so I try to present this in a series of problems, okay? And I try to present this as a series of problems stemming from 1776, where we were trying to form a government now.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that's where I started getting into the three branches of government.
Sure.
Okay? Now, this person lives in California, likes California, hates their government.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the way that I was saying it was all right, so first off, we have 50 states. So yeah.
Yep.
All right. So should we represent each state equally? She's like, okay. So I was like,
keep in mind, 11 of them had slaves at the time.
I was like, so,
well, no, how many? It was 6 that did. Yeah.
Yeah, but what was the other designation of independent? It's
that's later during the Civil War.
But anyway,
no, during the actual Constitutional Convention, there were 6 that had substantial slave populations.
Yeah, and so it was all right, so if we have 50 states and we want each state to be represented, she's like, yeah, how many representatives should we send?
Yeah.
And at first she's like, 1 per state.
Right.
And she's like, no. We need to have an odd number.
Right.
Like, why? Well, in case of a tie. I'm like, okay, we have a guy for that.
We got a guy.
We'll get to that. It's so okay, but I want you to take your state, for example. She's like, yeah. She's like, you don't like how your state handled this COVID situation. She's like, no. Yeah, okay, well, a majority of them do. Does your one representative theoretically would represent those people and not you? So then we should send 2. Now,
this is a great conversation.
Okay, now eventually it was like, okay, and I said, yeah, eventually we're going through. So all right, okay, cool. So California gets 2. She's like, yeah, do you know what the population of Wyoming is? She's like, no. I was like, it's less than 600,000.
Yeah, it's smaller than Washington, D.C., which gets 0.
She's like, that's the whole state? I'm like,
Yeah.
that's less than the city I live in.
Yeah.
She's like, but they get two senators.
2 senators. Yeah.
It's like, but there's also a group that goes based on how many people you have in the state.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so everybody gets 2 senators, and you get this based off of your population.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, that makes sense, right?
We make it work.
And then I was like, okay, so great. So you send all these people on through, okay? You get these people together. They're the ones that decide if they're going to pass a law through. She's like, okay, that seems like, it's like, oh, but that's not all, okay? Now we have somebody over here at the top, okay? It's not really the top because when you think about it, they don't really have a whole lot of power, but they've got one thing that they can do. They decide yes or no to those laws. She says, okay, well, that's where it's like, yeah, now check this out. If the Congress overwhelmingly thinks that that law should be a law and that president was just being a butthole, if enough of them get together, they can override that.
Yep.
She's like, wow, must take forever to do something. I was like, it does.
It does.
I was like, oh, wait, there's more. She's like, what? So if the Congress passes this and it goes through the executive branch, there's one more group over there, the Supreme Court, that can look at this and say, this is not constitutional.
Y'all done fucked up.
It's gone.
Yeah, we're going to just etch a sketch it out, man.
So I was like, so if the Congress and the president, they all say, now this free speech thing, that's a joke. The Supreme Court can still say, no, but it's in the,
Yeah,
it's in the, you can't do this.
It's on the napkin. Yeah.
Right? Can't do this. She's like, how does anything get done? I was like, well, it takes a while.
And we all fight about it a lot.
And we fight about it all the time. She's like, that sounds like a problem. I said, okay, yeah, great. I'm like, so let's talk about Russia for a second. Okay. She's like,
You have a guy.
so what's the problem in a guy? She's like, well, yeah, that's why I left. I was like, yeah, exactly. So that was the thing. It was like government law in 1 hour, right? So when it comes to like pessimism, okay, there's a part of this where at any point in history, and I feel like you can go to 1920, you could go to 1966, you could go to 1975. Sure. The infighting and the ugliness has always been there and always will be there.
Yeah, to a point. So I think the thing that's changed, though, and there is something that I think has changed, is the expectation of outcome. So, you know, the time where it takes. So, like, long time ago, you can go back to, like, 1920s or even World War II times and stuff like that. You know, there was maybe a little bit more patience on the part of individuals. I mean, we went through almost 11 years of depression. Okay?
Yeah.
And we only had one change of presidency in that entire time.
Which is amazing.
If that was fucking going on now, oh my God, I mean, people would be rioting in the street today to try and get Joe Biden, you know, taken out on that Section 7 or whatever it is, you know, right now. So the guy's clearly incompetent, you know, because they had actually expected him to be able to do something about that. So, and it's also my experience that a lot of Americans, especially some younger ones, they just don't understand the machinery behind that you just so eloquently laid out.
That's the quick and easy version, because I was like, oh, but
it still took you 8 minutes. Yeah.
And here's the best thing. She's like, what? It's like,
we do this 50 more times.
no. That's not even the best part. I said, so anything that the federal government hasn't made law is left to the states. She's like, really? I was like, so that's why if you don't like it here, you can leave.
Yeah, you could move to Nevada. It might be different.
And when she broke it down, she's like, I can't. It's like, I can't even. It's like, you got to know where I come from. I know where you come from.
I know where you come from.
Yeah, I know where you come from. But it was like, that's the beauty and the hazard of.
Sure.
Who is it? Famously, Patrick, who was the one person that voted against going to war in World War II?
Oh, she was a state rep from Wyoming.
And
She was like one of the first female reps too. So
and if I recall, her statement was like, "Look, I actually do support this."
she was Quaker.
Yeah, she was like,
Yeah.
but she was like, but in any system, there should always be some dissent.
Yeah.
There should not.
Yeah.
There should never be a unanimous decision
yeah.
to go to war.
Imagine if
Right.
someone did that today. Fucking, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you came from. The other side would fucking dogpile you. So So
Look, man, I remember what life was like on September 12th.
see, that's another thing,
Yeah.
man. I was thinking about that not too long ago. It's like, so since people aren't willing to be patient anymore
Yeah.
with their government, it takes like really heavy duty external events like 9/11 to actually get movement on something. God dang, that's dangerous, man. Now, there were quite a few people who actually voted against that. So the AUMF in 2003 specifically. But I question whether or not those people would have voted for it, like, at all, regardless of who it was or the circumstances, because, there's always been that peacenik piece of voters like her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so even if you go back to the Gulf War in 1990, even with the UN resolution in hand, that didn't pass unanimously, and so, like, and now, like, there's a few people out there who consistently bang on about the fact that they were right about the Iraq War, but they would have voted, they would have either voted against it or criticized it regardless of that, just based upon their stance on American, quote, imperialism, unquote, or whatever,
Yeah.
kind of, it's like your watchdogs, your Nazi watchdogs who are always watching out for Vietnam #2.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Oh yeah, no,
It's zero problem. As a matter of fact,
if they even try and start a Vietnam #3, there will be all kinds of people.
I don't give a fuck what the ideology is
Right.
at this point. Okay, and I wasn't alive for it.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that at this point I'd make some noise. Okay.
Yeah.
And even if, dude, I can't even tell you what it would be like to enforce like Americanism. What is stop the spread of communism? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Right. It doesn't matter. I'd be like, let them do their thing.
Yeah.
It's
let's see how this pans out. Yeah,
it's like they have to demonstrate that they're actually dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially because I watched, and you've watched, and we've seen communism destroy itself.
so many times.
Right? This is like we don't need it.
Oh man, yeah, dude, things just not ending in China either. So,
Those idiots are like tripling down.
oh my god, yeah, I know. It's
Did you-
like
did you
sunk
see-
fallacy cost is just like, it's like, somebody should write this up as a really good example of that.
The motherfuckers actually the Jinping, he was like, yes, but we're still going to out
Yeah.
GDP. And like, you couldn't do this.
You're gonna pencil whip every last goddamn number. So I mean, like, the motherfucker lived through through the Cultural Revolution. He's got to know about, like, the government quotas on fucking steel that basically starved the country because Mao just was like, whatever, we're gonna export wheat to the Soviet Union. To show that we can actually do that. And you're like, the one country in the world that probably doesn't need it. Anyway, that's, those are all.
Oh man, that is like, no, you're absolutely right, because when you take the absolute worst things about Asian culture, right, and then dial them up to 11,
Yeah.
right, that is just the stupidest. That is like the whole, like, yeah, there is a part of it where, unlike here, yes, you would not. Look, man.
Oh, that would never fly. You just imagine, like, your police force here actually trying to enforce a thing where they're welding people in their house. The cops wouldn't even fucking do it. So,
No.
they'd look at your local governor or your mayor or whatever and tell them to fuck off. So,
Look, man, I said this and I was completely wrong, and part of that was also just, with my mother living in Oregon, there was part of like, all right, you see where the protesters are. It's like,
yeah.
you guys need to stop like backing them off and just start kicking ass.
Yeah.
Now, it turns out I was wrong.
You didn't need to do that.
It turns out that the absolute brilliant plan, and they were right. This is, look, man, when it comes down to it, you're asking me, it's like, do you need ketchup to help the crow go down? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because this bird tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Okay? I was wrong because when it came down to it, and America proved, okay, you actually do not need to kick ass to make these things.
You just need a little patience.
You actually let the anger and you let the resentment and you let that be absorbed into the system.
Yeah.
Right. I was wrong. I was like, you got to cut this out like a cancer.
Yeah.
God damn, I was wrong. It's like, no, that's
Oh,
actually.
no, that's okay though, man. I mean, I understand the reaction to it, but at the same point in time, there was always something about all that shit that was going on that was kind of like, this ain't gonna work. Because we saw all the shit that happened during Occupy Wall Street over the years and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, who let all the fucking crazies in here? All of a sudden, at first we were talking about just getting higher wages, and now we get talking about tearing down the entire capitalist system and blah, 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 and taking away my grandma's pension, and her 401k and replacing it with, minimum income distribution. What is it under the thing?
You're talking about guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
No,
income.
what is it? Why don't I know this?
Yeah, I should know this too. But anyway, that whole really, really deep end Marxist kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
That it was just like, well, who let these guys? Oh, now we're talking about like race equality and reparations and things like that. It was like, who the fuck let these guys in? And so, what did the people who are actually serious about it do?
Oh, they just
went home.
Yeah, they like. No, I'm still.
Oh, there we go. Successful. Let's see. Excellent connection. We had a technical glitch there. I think it was me bagging on Marxists. Reconnection successful. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, this is what my connection looks like.
Yeah, no, oh my god, it is so good.
So this could be like a YouTube thing. That's fine. But what I'm driving at here is with the problems that we had and the open revolt, okay, it still wasn't a full-on lock you in your houses military actions thing that solved the problem.
Oh, Lord, no.
And it was actually restraint that made the problem go away faster. Whereas the situation in China, which is just embarrassing, and you have that you still have that compliance culture, right? Where, yes, there are people pissed, and yes, there are people finally starting to really make some noise, right? But still, there's a part of it where it's like, oh, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So, like, the thing that those guys on ADV were talking about. Oh, in fact, did you see Winston's video the other day on the Twitter buy?
Yeah.
He's actually kind of concerned about that. We'll have to watch that.
No, there's a legitimate concern there. Absolutely. But two things can be true at the same time, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, two things can be true at the same time. But anyway, I mean, like, okay, so he did a mild video on that where he was kind of like, I'm going to be watching this, kind of thing. And he has pointed out that Musk has an undue amount of exposure to the Chinese market anyway.
Yes.
The question is, does he give a shit? So, well, yeah, we don't know. So we won't know until the Chinese try and take away his toys. So, yeah, we'll see. So, but anyway, the thing about, like, I don't know, some of the stuff that's going on over there and the stuff that's going on in Russia and the Ukraine right now. So it did have me a little pessimistic there a little bit, but you actually helped me feel a little bit better about that today. I don't know, man. I'm still worried about the Ukraine. The longer this thing goes on, the more dangerous it gets. So, you see the Russians like rattling the nuclear saber like constantly now. So I don't think they're going to do anything about it. I think a lot of people in like
at least the punditry circuit that I kind of watch for international foreign policy bullshit, they're kind of assuming the guy's a little bit too rational. And I'm kind of at the point in time where he's been playing Civ for 25 years and he just wants a good war. So, I haven't gotten to use all the toys in a while, so I don't know, man.
I wish I could give you.
Yeah.
If there's an internal logic that he's following, I'm not privy to it.
No, I don't, yeah. And I think it's opaque to anybody on the outside. So, to tell you the truth.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, again, this is the same thing. This shit wouldn't fly here for all of the reasons that I detailed
All the
earlier,
reasons.
right?
Yeah.
But the other component of this is, I do still think that there is a crossing point in China and Russia where you will see internal shutdowns. Like if it comes to a certain point, like you talked about, rattling the nuclear saber, right? If that came at all, I guarantee you that somebody within his camp would bonk him.
Okay, I can see that in Russia. I can't necessarily see that in China. But the only thing that I'm going off in there is basically a history of revolutionary activity. So the Russians do have a tradition of doing that.
They sure do.
Yeah, they sure as fuck do. And so for people who want to point out, it only happened in 1917, there were many aborted attempts before then.
It wasn't that they weren't
Some of them resulted in machine gun fire. And then there were so many internal revolutions during the Soviet period.
constantly fights.
Yeah.
And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me at this point if there isn't something stewing within China right now.
It's possible, but that one's way more opaque. So no, that one
But it was kind of opaque during the Soviet era too.
well, it was. Yeah, I don't know though, man. So the other thing is isolating the most powerful people in Russia away from Putin, by taking away all their knickknacks that were parked in Geneva. I don't know if that makes him weaker or stronger. So he, the whole thing about him actually spinning this as a war against the West is that such a message actually does resonate with Russians.
It does.
Always has. And the other thing is they've completely switched up their strategy and they're changing to a more traditional Russian strategy where it's we got more of them.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're just going to do this the long way now. So we're not going to try and do the blitzkrieg thing anymore.
Correct.
Because we're not good at it, and we thought we were, but we haven't fought a war like this since 1945. All right.
Right.
When we were really fucking good at it, And so obviously that's not the army that we have anymore. And so let's go back to the kind of armying that we do well. And so I've seen a few more people come out and they say yeah, he's going to win. So it's going to take a year. But the guy's going to win. And the Russian people are ultimately probably going to back him on that one if he's really successful in spinning this as basically an existential threat to, our continued life as a people. So
the problem is, okay.
But so the flip side of that is that Russians are too fucking smart for that. The question is, are they too proud not to accept that?
Okay. So, all right. So there's two things about this that I agree and disagree at the same time. Again, I'm finding multiple truths at the same time.
Sure.
Right? Right now, when it comes to the way that I'm seeing this conflict, okay, because in any other circumstance, okay, I would venture that most groups in Russia's position would have already cut their losses, okay, because they failed to achieve victory. All right.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing here is when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, the question is which country will be dividing by zero more quickly than the other.
Yeah.
Because the difference is there's public support and money still going into Ukraine, and it is leaving Russia. And if it comes to a point where they're essentially not paying the people that are participating in this war, okay, then that's going to stop. Because
maybe. I mean, going bankrupt never stopped a good war. So
understood.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. why did people rally behind Putin in the first place?
I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that.
So here's my understanding. Okay,
Yeah.
was Boris Yeltsin, it turns out, was more of a fuck up than any of us even gave him credit for.
I've heard that. Yeah.
And when it comes to the graph of how people were doing after Gorbachev, here's Yeltsin's.
Yeah, it goes down and then goes back up.
Right. And so a lot of people saw their coming up from the really shit times and they hang that on Putin.
Yeah.
Right. And I got it. So there's I've got good feelings for that guy because my family prospered under this. Right. And what do you do when he takes you right back down here again? How long?
Yeah, I don't know how much he's going to get blamed for that, though, man. So, like, there's the narrative going on that this is basically a crusade against the West because they're coming for us.
But how does that equate into, when it comes to your war against the West, you're not fighting the West.
Well, they see it that way. So
what you get here is Ukraine, and that's not really the West.
Well, they kind of see it that way. I mean, or at least that's what I'm hearing from like some Russian sources and stuff like that. I mean, granted, a lot of them are going to be state-based.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but even just like there's instances out there of things that are coming out of Russia because, I mean, sort of like it's a one-way media door right now. They have full access to all of ours.
Yeah.
You know, and the Twitter and all that. I'm trying to choke off anything that's actually coming out of Russia, but you can still fucking find it really easily.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, Putin doesn't have a great firewall like Xi Jinping does. You know,
It's not bad though. He's been doing this for years.
yeah, no, but I understand that. But you know, it's still possible to get your hands on Western media if you're in Russia. So or
100%.
participate in it. Yeah. That's not the case in China. So you're not allowed on the Twitter. Nope. So, and we shoot you if you use a VPN. So I don't know about that, but maybe. See, that's the whole thing about that. You don't really know.
There's that part of well, because like, do you remember that during the Olympics where that one fucking idiot was like, "Oh no, their internet's free. You just have to go download a VPN."
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And they were like, the Chinese were like, "No, you can't.
No, you can't do that."
And then the government was like, "No, you can't.
No, you cannot. You're right.
And then,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
like somebody fucking that just got caught with like a joint in their mouth, threw it out the window, and she was like, "What pot?
What pot?"
He's like, still,
Wafting around.
yeah,
Turn on the recirc. You know.
yeah, fucking. You know, she was like, "Oh yeah, what pot?"
Yeah.
Nobody spoke of pot in here, but
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I mean, like the whole idea of like, you know, even the Chinese thing of not losing face. You know, there's a level of chauvinism that exists in Russia that I can see basically leading them into something really gnarly like this.
Yeah.
That eventually will embroil the entire West, and we'll get blindsided by it because it'll be one of those things where it's just like, what the fuck? Just, you know, like, get it over with, you know? But the guy wants a good fucking war, you know?
He's not having it though.
Well, I don't know. You know, it depends on whether he, you know, like, is he getting good reports about it? You know, are his losses being presented as commiserate with the amount of effort that's being put into it?
Yeah.
What, you don't know any of this because we don't know what people are saying to him.
Okay.
You know?
Here's the problem.
Sure.
Okay. How do you define a good war?
That's up to him.
Well, this is the thing. Do you define a good war in terms of outcome, or do you measure a good war based off who your opponent is? So,
Or does it consolidate your power?
so ultimately here, if you win the AA baseball championship, okay, sure, that feels good.
Yeah.
Okay. But did you go against people who are throwing 96-mile-an-hour sliders?
Well, they can throw those too. So
Yes, but those are in the stands.
yeah, I understand, man. And I understand what you're trying to say there, but like
Yeah.
anybody in Russia is not going to see themselves as a AA team. So regardless of what the fucking stats say.
But that's what I'm saying is, if you're going against the West, you didn't fight the West.
Well, yeah, but if you're pitching it that way and people believe it, then it essentially has the same effect.
I agree.
So, you know,
yes,
that's my concern. So that's my concern is that that's actually taking a bite in Russia They're going to knuckle down. They're going to triple down on this war. And, eventually somebody over there is going to say, you know what, fuck this. Why are we, watching shit march across the border from Poland? We can prevent that now. And 27 minutes later, the world is fucking ash. So,
Yeah, buddy, but
I get it, man. There's no, there's nothing you can do at that point in time. I mean, it's just I see a lot of people who keep pulling that one off the table because they don't want it to be there. So
let me put it to you this way. The likelihood of that happening, okay, to me is the exact same percentage as it was before this conflict started.
I know. See, I think that's higher. So I think it's exponentially higher right now than it was last October. So
the threat of it was always there. The deterrents have always still been the same.
I get that, but the threat of it of actually an accidental launch. All right, so 2018, Russia, somebody sits on the wrong fucking button and something's heading towards Hawaii. Mm-hmm. They have about 8 minutes to make a phone call.
Right.
All right, at which point in time we're like, all right, we only see one. Mm-hmm. All right, let's lock down Hawaii as quickly as we can, and we'll talk about reparations. Right now that happens, everything's going, man. So. It's just freaky.
I got you, and it's not that I don't see your point. It's just that I don't find this conflict as being something that actually accelerates that possibility. I know why you're seeing it that way, and I'm not disagreeing with you, because I could absolutely be wrong, right? As far as I'm concerned, as far as anybody knows about Putin, right? Because it's so secretive at this point, okay? He could be fucking, Stimpy the cat just hovering over the button, sweating like crazy because Ren told him not to push it.
Yeah, don't push the button. Yeah,
and he's just freaking out.
Right.
Okay, I don't know, or it could just be something like, hey, just say this. Let me see if this does anything. Right?
He might be in that case. You never know.
And the nuclear powers were still the nuclear powers 5 years ago.
Yeah, they were.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen now. I can't feel nervous about this. We're like, all right, well,
this is one of the few times I really hope you're right about that. So I really hope you're right. You were right about COVID, and I was hoping you were wrong about that one. But this time, I'm hoping you're right. Yeah. So we'll have to check back on that one later in the year, man. So, because just the more weeks that peel off on the calendar on this thing, I think the worse the outcome gets. So, because nobody will be happy. So, obviously he's not going to run home with the lunch that he thought he was going to snag. Okay. So that's not happening. So now the question is okay, what does it actually take to wind this down? Do people actually want it to wind down? That's the further it goes on, the less that will actually be true. So,
yes, I get you, but ultimately, when all's said and done, did the Soviets nuke Afghanistan? No,
they didn't. Yeah, that's true. So, and they did know that we were supplying the Mujahideen with Stinger missiles. I don't know, man. Afghanistan was an offensive war that was basically geared on, territory acquisition. You can say that there's a parallel in this one. It's not not
a straight line, and it's not like this, but in terms of doing it and getting away with it, right?
Yeah.
They could have probably nuked the shit out of Afghanistan, and it'd be like, well.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is I don't think they would nuke Afghanistan because they wanted it. I don't think they'll nuke Ukraine. They'll nuke London. So, or Warsaw, or Washington. So, and then, it's just, I don't think he'll use nukes, man.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he will, but so imagine if he starts lobbing cruise missiles into Poland. Okay.
That's it.
What do you mean that's it?
That's the end of the fucking war.
Yeah, probably. See,
I don't know, man. I don't know if he's smart enough not to do that. So, and quite honestly, I don't know if he did something like that, we would actually defend Poland. So I'm not confident in that either. So
If it comes to launching cruise missiles at Poland, okay,
Yeah.
I am awfully confident, okay, that somebody in that actually can get to him will butt stroke the shit out of him.
so we can only hope. So
He will melee the fuck out.
to the right bumper. So do it with the pistol and flip it around, Halo style. So
Yeah,
don't tell me he doesn't let too many people around near him with pistols anymore.
I know, okay, but I mean, I'm telling you, like, you have a string of people that are like, okay, you have to let these brass knuckles get through security today.
Yeah.
Right?
So just slip a $5 bill underneath them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually, it just so happens that
For Mother Russia.
the brass knuckles get through there, and then, Putin's just sitting there saying, like, I launched cruise missiles today, and then, yeah, he's just looking at the paper, and then, fucking somebody right thumbsticks him, and, because if it comes to that point, they're just like, we can't do this. We can't.
No. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, with all the different things that are going on in the world, just people don't understand how fucking lethal this country really is when it puts its mind to it. It's crazy.
I agree.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
we've had our opportunities, and there's a
Showing remarkable restraint a couple times.
absolutely
Remarkable restraint.
correct. And I'm starting to see that restraint was probably the better play.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but there's also there's probably at some point, if somebody doesn't butt stroke fucking Putin, then there's probably somebody inside that's like, okay, I have some inside knowledge. This information gets out to the U.S.
Yeah.
And this fucking JDAM hits exactly where he is right now because he's about to do this. And then everybody's like, whoa, what happened there? Right? I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
This dude was like, I'm going to hit the cruise missile button.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how it'll go.
I don't know. I think that's a little optimistic, but gotta be cool if it did happen.
What? So what I can
I
tell
just
you,
want everybody to go back to fucking chill out mode. So on this stuff. I have seen less of the flags and things like that lately. So,
yes, of course.
and like the the rallies at the school support blah 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 and so I'm glad people are chilling out on there, focusing on Twitter. And then what the fuck else was going on?
Dude, 2 weeks ago,
Oh yeah.
all that mattered was
Yeah.
that one black actor slapped another black actor, and nobody has said shit about
Nobody
it
has said
since.
shit about it since.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so, Ukraine, big deal, but guess
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Elon Musk just bought Twitter.
Elon Musk just bought Twitter.
And in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
somebody else is going to do something else.
Something yeah, so Disneyland will move Disney World.
Not in a million years.
No, of course not.
No
There's not enough wheels in the
fucking
world to put
way.
that thing on truck.
No fucking way. No, there's no chance. Even
Yeah.
though, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Disney should not be a sovereign city-state.
Yeah, I get you. All right, we're at $1.39 on the.
Yeah.
All right, so here, let's make a call for like next week. You got a bingo card of shit. Okay.
You want me to predict this?
I want you to like just all you have to do is pick like a quadrant. Next week's big news will be A, international, B, political, C, entertainment based, or D, miscellaneous. Where do you think it'll go?
Okay.
You gotta
hold
be
me-
anything in there.
No, you got to hold me to this because there's things that I could weasel into any one of those quadrants
There
if I
are.
felt like it.
Yeah.
Right? So if I was like, Alyssa Milano.
It's gotta be clearly
Yeah,
related to one.
if I say Alyssa Milano's going to shave her head, you're like, that's entertainment.
That's
It's like,
entertainment.
no, she did it because Elon Musk bought Twitter, right? And then you're like, oh, well, that's politics. Oh, well, that's
if
miscellaneous.
it involves a celebrity like that, it's entertainment.
right?
Yeah.
But if they did it
If it
for a
involves a
political
politician,
reason,
then it's political.
Right.
So yeah.
right? So I think I think it's going to have to be. I don't think the Musk issue will be done by.
Okay.
Like I still think that's going to be a big deal.
Okay.
Now I follow it a little bit more closely.
Yeah,
than you,
sure.
so I'm tainted.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we need is basically an outside perspective, and I think that belongs to my brother. So
Okay.
what he is going to be required to do is by next week or the next time we see him,
Yeah.
he needs to decide whether the big issue was entertainment, political,
Okay.
miscellaneous, or
We got to pull the sports off the table because he's definitely kind of glued to that.
yeah, but he's also glued to,
Oh, I know. He
World
watches the
affairs.
news and stuff. But if he
Right.
comes back and says, "Oh, so and so got traded," and blah blah blah, that's a foul.
unless
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Like, so
Oh man, it's got to be so big of a deal that you and I have to like agree with him.
well, okay, so I would have said
Yeah.
that Tom Brady, the Buccaneers, that would have superseded. that would have been biggest story of the week.
Yeah. Okay. So like Tom Brady actually retires next week. That would be a story.
Which I didn't call.
No.
No, that's not my prediction. So I am
Yeah.
going to go with political, and it's specifically within the electronic Twitter free speech sphere.
Okay.
It is going to be free speech fights.
I'm going to put my money on China and Shanghai. So
What's the angle?
I don't know. So, but that's going to be the thing. So
Oh, you're going to say that people actually like it breaks into like big time coverage. Like
something's going to
there's-
happen. Yeah.
So you're talking about, so there would have to be a change in like they're doing what they're doing. There has to be some kind of like the Ukraine flags are out and some kind of like anti-China. sentiment.
Yeah. Something.
So this would be like the stop cone.
I just think that's the I
China.
just think that's the kettle on the stove that's going to blow first. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be
Okay.
my prediction for next Wednesday.
Okay.
So
And yeah. So if
oh, you want to call somebody out? You got who did you have last time? Roddy Piper. Oh, you want to fight somebody?
whose ass I'm gonna kick? Why was
Who's
I?
Bob? There you go. Not worth your time.
Remember what I told you about? It's not about if you win. It's about if you fight a worthy opponent.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I would kick the shit out of that diabetic piece of crap.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. So, Roddy Piper has got the age and the experience. Well, he's got the experience and the reach, but I am younger than he is.
Yeah, you're probably in better shape than he is too.
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's been.
I think you could probably see farther too.
It's possible. Look, I also don't have 20 years worth of wrestling injuries. So
Right. Yeah.
but then again, I don't know what it's like to wrestle with somebody that's on Percocet. So it could be.
That might not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're the opponent.
So who's my worthy opponent? I challenge anybody that actually quit Twitter because of the Elon Musk buyout
Okay.
to an arm wrestling contest.
Arm wrestling competition. So
Man or woman,
yeah.
okay? If you quit Twitter because of Elon Musk's purchase, come find me
Let's wrestle.
and I'll fuck you up.
Well, arm wrestle.
No, because after I do that, you're going to sit there and blame it on some other shit. Then we're going to get it into some kind of an argument. And then we're out there wrestling on my front porch.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you want to arm wrestle, cool.
Okay.
Understand that you have to accept the outcome.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'll beat the piss out of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Why is this going so violent? Why am
I don't know. You're just angry about this, man. So
No, just anybody that thinks they're actually being tough because they quit Twitter.
yeah, and I don't think you necessarily get a good pool of worthy opponents, but you never know. There might be a John Cena in there somewhere.
Not a chance. There's no way.
Yeah?
There's no way.
Yeah.
There is nobody that quit Twitter because of Elon Musk's purchase that I could not kick the ass of.
All right. So you put your flag in that ground, huh?
This is just a statistical fact.
Okay. All right.
Why am I doing this? What?
I don't know, man.
Somebody's look. I just have to let that hang.
Yeah.
Come
the
find me.
button. Yeah.
Come find me.
All right. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Come find Jeffrey. Yeah. See ya.